Hello and welcome to Oulton Park in Cheshire for round 2 of the British GT Championship. Now, last time out for the first round, the season really kicked off in some style. Let's have a quick reminder.
Lights out, British GT 2014 is go, the two Astons together. The GT4 battle getting ever more competitive. Big spin, that's Colin White of Cascades. The Joneses are off, Jodie Firth is off in the Porsche, more damage.
Looks like the gearbox just completely exploded.
Barry Baxter spins in the Porsche. Rick Parfitt, the reigning GT4 champion, has slowed right down.
I thought I was starting to grind him down and getting really close, and then the engine died coming out of Knickerbrook.
Chris Hoy bails out of his stint.
Took 5 places from the good position, so I'm pretty happy, yeah.
A second place in GT4, absolutely together. Lotus versus Aston Martin. A stop-go penalty for the car in second place. This is a disaster. Off goes Barr, into the barrier, big damage to the Ferrari. Michael Caine brings home the Aston Martin to win round 1.
The girls on it, so that's the first win, girls.
And a first win in GT4 for Beach Team.
They've done a fantastic job, as they always do, and it's just, yeah, a fantastic way to start the season.
That win gives Jake Giddings and Ross Wiley the lead in the GT4 Championship. Ahmad Al-Hafi and Michael Caine lead GT3 from Passin Lathuris and Richard Lyons, and Andrew Howard and Johnny Adam.
It's time for race 2 here at Oulton Park, and just take a look at the car that's in 4th position. It's this sexy beast, this brand new to British GT, the Bentley. Now in 3rd position, it's this Ferrari that we know is very nimble round here. Now in 2nd place, we know they'll be in the thick of it, the reigning champions. It's the Aston of Beach Dean, and in pole, looking for more luck this time round, it's the BMW.
Round 2 of the Avon Tyres British GT Championship about to get underway here at Oulton Park. Alexander Sims on pole position. He's got Johnny Adam lining up alongside him. The second row of the grid in the Ferrari is Aaron Scott, and then the Bentley with Stephen Caine at the wheel. You're riding on board with Stephen Caine. The lights will go out and round 2 of the championship is underway. A fantastic grid thunders over the line. It's going to be Alexander Sims who leads into Old Hall Corner with Aaron Scott and the Ferrari locking up as he went to the inside. On board in the GT4 Porsche now with Dan Camish. He's right on the back of Gavin Kershaw in the Lotus as they battle for the class lead. Down to Cascades for the first time. James Appleby in the second of the Bentleys runs through. And now you're riding with Alex Buncombe in the Nissan that he shares with Chris Hoy. Phil Keane in the Porsche ahead. Buncombe looked to the inside line, the door closed. Lap 1, Shell Oil's corner, and this multi-million-pound grid thunders through. Back on board with Dan Camish in the Porsche, Gavin Kershaw's Lotus just up the road. Porsche new to GT4 in the UK this year, and Dan Camish, who dominated Formula Ford last year, new to GT racing. Alexander Sims leads the way, Johnny Adams second, and Stephen Caine looks for the inside coming into his lops, but there's no way through in the Bentley. From Knickerbrook up Clay Hill, as now Tom Oliphant's Ginetta dives up the inside. The GT4 Ginetta gains a place coming into his lops. Alexander Sims is trying to edge away up front as the cars work their way down toward the end of lap 1. Back on board with Dan Camish. Ahead is Gavin Kershaw in the Lotus. Is Camish going to be close enough by Lodge Corner to mount an attack? I think the Lotus is getting away a little bit. Down through the gears, into Lodge Corner, end of lap 1. Sims leads the way in the BMW from Aston Martin and then Ferrari. A fabulous sight as they pour through Old Hall Corner. The BMW Z4 there in the hands of Luke Hines. A car penalised in race 1, and Luke Hines now is looking to try to gain ground. Richard Lyons, Ferrari ahead of him as they turn through Cascades. Really wide goes Alex Buncombe. just hangs on to the place. Andy Schultz in the Aston challenging. Now there is Gavin Kershaw leading the way in GT4. Tom Oliphant turns the Ginetta, another GT4 car out of Old Hall corner. Oliphant, new to GT racing this year, sets off down towards Cascades, and he's closing on the traffic ahead of him. Bradley Ellis, former GT champion, in his GT4 Ginetta, also looking to gain ground. A great mix of cars this year in GT4, and the two Ginettas there lean on each other, diving towards Island Bend. The BMW of Declan Jones hangs onto the place as really wide at Shell. That was Jamie Stanley. He gets away with it though. This for third place, it's Ferrari versus Bentley. The M Sport run Bentley on home soil, effectively. Bentley based in Crewe, right on the tail of the Ferrari. And now Stephen Kane goes to the inside at Lodge, and through goes the Bentley. It's a big car, but it's well driven in the hands of Stephen Kane. A replay of more action in GT4. Matt Nicol-Jones getting it wrong, coming up towards Britons. He slaloms his way back to the track. Matt Bell in the Audi versus Phil Keane in the Porsche. Absolutely together, these two. They're swabbling over 11th place. And Matt Bell just keeping the Audi R8 LMS Ultra ahead, but only just. Keane in the track speed Porsche hustles up the inside. The race leaders now in the traffic. Alexander Sims, BMW factory driver, working his way through the slower cars. He's put a lap on Matt Nicol-Jones, and Johnny Adams stuck in traffic, so the lead gap has extended now. The Acuria Cross run BMW, lights are flashing, comes down to Hislop's. Johnny Adam in second place, he's being caught by the Bentley of Stephen Kane. Two great British brands about to get themselves together now, second and third, as that is the leading car. Alexander Sims getting away a little bit now. Up towards Druids, more traffic ahead. There's the Aston Martin in second spot, Johnny Adam at the wheel. But Alexander Sims, for the moment, has managed to shake off the pack behind him. But you can see why he's flashing the lights. He's got all of these slower cars in GT4 to wriggle away past. Johnny Adam being caught by Stephen Kane. It's Aston Martin versus Bentley now for second place. Johnny Adam in the Aston Martin, shared by reigning champion Andrew Howard, heads down towards Old Hall, and Stephen Kane being ruthless in the traffic as he has to be to stay with Adam, and somebody's off. It's Tom Oliphant in the Ginetta that's gone off at Old Hall and thumped the tyres pretty hard. Rick Parfitt, his co-driver, looks at the timing screens, shakes his head. Another retirement, I'm afraid, in what has been a pretty bad day at Oulton Park. Stephen Kane still hunting down Johnny Adam. Tom Oliphant is okay. The safety car is on track then. Let's have a look at what happened to Tom Oliphant down at Old Hall corner. Turns in, loses the back, he fights it. Goes onto the grass, but on that trajectory he's going only one way, and that's into the wall. The safety car stays out on track. The pit window has just opened. Alexander Sims leads the way, but quite a few drivers now are bailing out of the traffic jam to come down the pit lane and serve the mandatory pit stop for the driver change. In comes Richard Abbott, behind him in comes Matt Bell. This is really quick thinking by some of the teams. Rob Barth is in as well to give way to Gary Eastwood. One or two of the GT4 teams in as well. This could be absolutely crucial to the outcome of the race. Matt Bell out of the Audi, Mark Patterson gets in. And the rest of the field files through Cascades behind the safety car still. As soon as the pit stop is complete, then the drivers can be released back into the race. There's a set time between pit in and pit out to accommodate the pit stop as well. And this is Mark Patterson being strapped in by Matt Bell in the Audi run by United Autosports. The door closes. And the car pushed back, ready to leave the pit lane. Alex Buncombe in the Nissan, he'll hand over to Chris Hoy on the pit stops. With Andy Schultz in the Aston Martin still tucked up behind him. As now, Mark Patterson is ready to go. He's got one of the Ginettas rather cheekily trying to get past. Mark Paul in the Aston Martin slots back in front. He came in ahead, he goes out ahead. So those cars, pit stop completed, can catch up the traffic, and they will be well placed, ready for the second part of the race. Chris Hoy waits his turn. A number of the drivers, though, the quicker drivers in the first stint, are going to stay out for as long as they can and try and build a gap for their co-driver once again. Green flags fly, racing again at Oulton Park. Alexander Sims leads Johnny Adam, and Stephen Kane has been delayed in the traffic in the Bentley. He's got Aaron Scott behind him, and then Rory Butcher flying in the next Aston, the red and white car. Alex Buncombe heads for the pit lane to give way to Chris Hoy. There he is, ready and waiting. It's a real big step up from the club racing Chris Hoy has done in the past to international GT racing at this level, but he went very well in the first race. Also in, look, Michael Caine in the race 1 winning Aston to give way to Ahmad Al-Harfi. Door opens, Alex Buncombe will clamber out. Chris Hoy gets into the Nissan. Chris Hoy with aspirations to race at Le Mans in a couple of years' time. This is the first part of that process to learn about GT racing in the British Championship. He'll be back on track after round 2 of the Avon Tyres British GT Championship at Oulton Park. Chris Hoy blasts out of the pit lane for his second ever GT race, and he's straight into the traffic. Really difficult this for him. It's the first time he will have taken over a race car. Straight away he's involved in battles, and straight away he's off the road and cascades, over the grass, through the gravel. He'll survive this, but it's going to cost him places. He's done the right thing. He hasn't fought the car. He's lifted off, lets it flow back onto the circuit. Now he can pick up pace. Dan Camish brings the GT4 Porsche in to give way to Barry Baxter, and this is the leader. Alexander Sims brings in the Acuria Corse BMW. Marco Attard will take over the car. Now this is the battle for the race lead. Mark Poole versus Mark Patterson. These cars came in right at the start of the pit window opening, and so the Aston Martin has the advantage with the Audi right on its tail, coming now down towards Lodge Corner. Mark Poole heading for the pit lane. He's got a stop-go penalty for a pit lane infringement. In he comes. He has to give up the race lead, and a stop-go penalty for the Aston Martin, and that effectively takes him out of contention for the lead. He also comes into a very crowded pit lane. So there is the new race leader. Mark Patterson for United Autosports in the Audi R8 leads the way. This is the reason for the pit stop penalty. The Aston Martin crawls into the pit lane, but it came in just before the window had opened. Only by a matter of seconds, but even so, to serve the time difference, a stop-go penalty is needed. Finally, the pit lane is emptying, and there, back into the race, goes Mark Poole, so that car will tumble down the order, but he's going to be able to gain some places back before the end of the race. In GT4, a Lotus Evora started by Gavin Kershaw, taken over by Oz Yusuf, still going strongly. Andrew Howard right on the tail now of John Dillon for 6th place. Ferrari versus Aston Martin. Andrew Howard, the reigning champion, tries to go one way and then the other, but John Dillon is defending strongly, and Phil Driver as Aston Martin closing up as well. Dillon goes by, Dillon spins! Round goes the 458. The 2 Aston Martins have both got ahead of him, and now John Dillon is stranded at Cascades, but thankfully he's got the car going. Rally crosses his way back onto the circuit, and John Dillon rejoins, but he's tumbling down the order. The lead battle now, Mark Patterson versus Gary Eastwood, who has closed right up in the Ferrari. Matt Bell started the Audi, Rob Barth started the Ferrari, and now their co-drivers are left to slug it out for the race lead. Through Druids, there's the American Mark Patterson. He's an experienced driver in British GT terms. Gary Eastwood has also come on a pace in the last 2 or 3 seasons. For 6th in GT4, it is all about Ginetta at the moment. In the middle of this gaggle, you can see Adrian Barwick in the yellow and grey car, desperately trying to attack and defend at the same time, and the race leaders are bearing down on the GT4 action. Some great squabbles going on amongst the Ginettas further up the road. For 2nd in GT4, it's Andrew Jarman at the moment holding sway. But let's catch up with news from the pits. Let's go and join Andy.
Well, it keeps swapping and changing, but as far as I can see, you guys are in the lead right now. Am I right?
Yeah, it seems that way, but yeah, let's cross fingers and see how it goes.
How is it out there?
It's pretty hot, pretty narrow track, so it's hard to just keep focus and try to stay in front.
Race leaders nose to tail, trying to work their way through the traffic. Tanya Mann in the Ginetta ahead, but this is a real test of Mark Patterson now. He's trying to work his way past the slower cars and keep Gary Eastwood behind him.
Right, let's just talk to you about that pit. Was that tactical genius or just making the most of the opportunity?
It was just a call from the box. It was the pit window had opened, time to pit, and we came in.
The leaders are both off at Hislop's. Matt Bell's car, Mark Patterson at the wheel, has gone all over the grass and got a puncture. How quickly things change in GT racing. You're riding on board the Porsche of John Minshaw down to Hislop's, and stranded on the grass, look, is Gary Eastwood's Ferrari. Mark Patterson is limping on, but it's not just a puncture, I fear. There may be some damaged suspension, and that car is grinding to a halt. Matt Bell has just got the news, and he's not at all happy. This promotes Rembertberg to third. He's on the back of John Minshaw for second as they come into Druids. And Gary Eastwood is out of the race as well. The safety car has been deployed. Now, it's not picked up the race leader, so this is going to take a bit of sorting out. But the safety car is needed again. Mark Patterson is out, Gary Eastwood is out. Big disappointment for Rob Bath.
Can you tell us what happened? Because we're still trying to work it out.
No, we're in the dark completely. We knew it happened in Sector 1, because that's where Gary went missing from the timing screens. We had a blinding strategy that played into our hands with the safety car. We went from P nowhere to second, and Gary genuinely has the pace on Patterson. And look, the win was there, and he's now missing in action. We don't know where he is.
Here's the answer. He's in Sector 2, he's down at Hislop's, and this is what happened. Mark Patterson brakes, Gary Eastwood comes to the outside to try and avoid contact, but still hits the Audi, that then, having been hit, goes straight across the grass. And now you can see why both cars have stopped, because that hit was so big it's damaged the suspension on both. Rob Bath looks on as Mark Patterson's Audi is dragged back. And this has been a very lengthy safety car period. The race is being led by Marco Attard. John Minshaw is second, but look, he's got 3 slower cars ahead of him, so Marco Attard's advantage for the moment is preserved. And then in third place, Rembertberg there in the Bentley, started by Stephen Kane. Now, can the Bentley get second place before the end? Green flags fly, we're racing once again. Chris Hoy trying to work his way through traffic as well. And honours in GT4 at the moment are being fought out between Aston Martin and Ginetta. Through on the inside goes the Aston Martin. Andrew Jarman takes over the class lead, or does he? He just hangs on to it, coming out of the corner. Morton Don's right with him in the Ginetta. Rembertberg is not catching John Minshaw. He is being caught instead by Andrew Howard in the Aston, who's right up behind him. Good Ferrari fight here, John Dillon. He has got Patin Lathouras up alongside him. Lathouras going through, first time at Oulton Park, and going so impressively all weekend. Amana Harthy goes past as well. John Dillon dropping down the order, and now on his tail is the recovering Mark Poole. Andrew Jarman's class leading GT4 Aston Martin turns out of shell. This is Barry Baxter, meantime in the Porsche. And he's a couple of laps down after earlier dramas. And you're on board with Chris Hoy. Ahead of him is Hector Lester in the Rosso Verde Ferrari, who comes out of Druids and now sprints down towards Lodge Corner. John Hartshorn ahead in the Aston Martin. Hector Lester goes for the inside. Can Chris Hoy follow him through? Yes, he can. Out of Lodge, up Dearly, and now Chris Hoy hunting down the much more experienced GT racer Hector Lester for 13th place. For third, however, Rembertberg has got Andrew Howard right on his tail. Malcolm Wilson, the boss of M Sport, which runs the Bentley, strides from the pit bunker to go and have a look at the timing screens. Barry Baxter's Porsche, meantime, a couple of laps down in GT4, turns its way through Druids. His target is Paul McNeely's Ginetta, a bit further up the road though. Great to have Porsche in GT4, the class really growing this year, as through on the inside goes the Jake Giddings, Ross Wiley Aston Martin. That is set for 4th in class, having started right at the back of the grid after a problem on the green flag lap. Barry Baxter, successful historic racer, now turning to modern GT racing, comes out of Old Hall, grabs a gear, sets off down to Cascades. Still Rembertberg hangs on to third place. Still Andrew Howard is closing right up under braking, coming into Britain's, and the Bentley spins and off it goes, bang, into the wall. Straight away, Rembertberg is on the radio, but he's off the circuit. replay. Riding on board. Rambert gets on the power, boots it out of Britain's in the back, just breaks away, round it goes, and thump into the tyre wall. Action in GT4 continues here. You've got Ross Wiley on the back of Oz Yusuf in the Lotus. Now that is for third in class, third in GT4. And the Ginettas are still squabbling as well. Look for sixth in class. Tanya Mann here versus Adrian Barwick. It's just the Optimum Motorsport car ahead of the Team Parker entry, as now the gap is coming down and down for the race leaders on the last lap. Marco Attard in the BMW is being caught hand over fist by John Minshaw. It is BMW versus Porsche, Ecuriacos versus Track Speed, and there is half a lap to go. For third in GT4, still the same order, still the Lotus of Oz Yusuf is fending off Ross Wiley. Alexander Sims and Marco Attard look as though they're going to hang on to victory, but it's going to be close. The checker flag at the ready, and Marco Attard brings home the Ecuriacos BMW. There's a delighted Alexander Sims on the pit wall. The BMW wins by 0.456 of a second. GT4 victory is going to go to Aston Martin and to the new TF Sport team, Tom Ferrier's squad, because down towards Lodge Corner, Andrew Jarman and Devon Modell will come to score victory. Ahead of him on the road, the Ginettas still squabbling. Tanya Mann staying ahead of Adrian Barwick. But the TF Sport Aston Martin heads for the timing line. Andrew Jarman and Devon Modell score victory in round 2 of the championship. Second in GT4 coming over the timing line now. Morton Dons and Alexander Sherpin's Ginetta, Oz Yusuf and Gavin Kershaw's Lotus in third. The GT4 class victory goes the way of Andrew Jarman and Devon Modell. In GT3, victory for Marco Attard and Alexander Sims from the Minshaw Keen Porsche and the Aston Martin of Andrew Howard and Johnny Adam.
After missing that pit window with the safety car come out, 3 or 4 of them managed to get the pit window just about right, and we thought, oh, that's it. You know, we'd blown it all. You know, we're very happy about that.
That's got to feel pretty special, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. First round, first year in British GT, and to get a win and a podium, you know, I couldn't have wished for any more. So it's a great result.
Things are looking good for Aston Martin drivers in both classes. Jarman and Modell head GT4 by 3 points. Ahmed Al Harfi and Michael Caine lead GT3 by 1 point from fellow Aston drivers Andrew Howard and Johnny Adam.
Well, it's been a great weekend of racing from here at Oulton Park. Congratulations, of course, to Marco Attard and Alexander Sims for their excellent win in round 2. Tell you what, though, there's no rest for the wicked, as all the teams have to pack up now and get ready for the next round in Rockingham.